Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Football Inc. This is your home of, broadly speaking, everything football with myself, Sean Butler from Spurs Talk Show, and Jonny H3232 from Twitter, and all over the other parts of YouTube football. How are you, Jonny? Good to see you.
Yeah, all good, all good. Lots of football news going on at the moment. Lots of transfer news. Not tons and tons of transfers, apart from Manchester City, of course, who are out there trying to buy up anyone and everyone they can lay their hands on, and quality players as well.
Absolutely, quality young players.
We got news on the other teams in the Premier League who are trying to sign players.
Before we get into that, guys, if you do enjoy this content, smash a like button for us on the channel. It's a fledgling channel, trying to make our way to 1,000 subscribers and all that jazz. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop some comments. Let us know who you support in the comments and what you think about the links if they do affect your team or otherwise. Give us some feedback as well. Jonny, we're going to start off with the biggest story of this week. Not necessarily the biggest story, but one of the biggest stories. Jonathan David coming to Liverpool to play for Lille in the Champions League. A player that is incredibly talented, a player that bangs in the goals everywhere and at every level, but has been a player that's avoided the targets of most of the bigger teams until now. Out of contract in the summer, lots of links around the Premier League. How do you see this sort of transfer story fizzling up towards its conclusion?
It's quite interesting, actually. I mean, I was never sure about him. He was one of those players that you see, he's banging in the goals, but is he really quality? I mean, he's valued around 60 million just a year ago. So now we find him coming out of his contract and looks like he's going to go on a free. 11 goals in 16 appearances this season. 7 goals in 14 appearances in the Champions League, 3 goals in 15 appearances in the... this is a guy who's a goal machine, 2-footed and very quick. And he's still only 25 years of age. And
that's right.
I think teams are going to be all over him. I really do. He hasn't fully matured yet. It would be interesting to see, because it's going to be an auction come the summer. If you wait then, and everyone fighting out because there aren't that many quality players available for free. So I think there might be some team that actually try to make a move before the January window closes. But if I was Jonathan David's agent, I'd be hanging tough until the summer and get myself a nice big fat juicy sign-on check and choose whichever club I want. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on when Liverpool play Lille.
A massive night for him, probably the biggest night in his career. A chance, let's not be disrespectful to the Ligue 1 system, but it's a league that kind of flies a little bit under the radar for most fans, probably in the Premier League, or at least in who follow the sorts of teams that we mainly do. So a massive night for him on, I think it's on Tuesday this week, tomorrow night. Chance for him to put himself firmly under that kind of spotlight and to let everyone know how good he is at this sort of level. If he puts in a good shift, I think the long list of suitors for him will become even longer. We'll wait and see on that one, Jonny. Moving forward, let's move to the next name on the list, because we've got 12 or 13 names to get through in this video. Tottenham obviously are keen on Jonathan David, but they're also keen on looking at a number of other striker options, a number of other forward options. Ansu Fati being one such name. Barcelona player, went to Brighton on loan last season, so everyone got a chance to see this kid up front and personal. Links to Tottenham. Barcelona do have to move some players on if they want to bring some players in. They have got the right side of their 1-to-1 FFP ratio, but they're always trying to move players out so they can move the next guys in. And this guy seems to be surplus to requirements at Barcelona. What did you make of him, mate, at Brighton? What have you thought of him, generally speaking? And is he someone that you'd like to see come to Tottenham, just out of curiosity?
I mean, the noise about him coming through as a teenager was huge. He was the next big thing. But, he's not Yamal, that's for sure. He's gone to Brighton. And, did he really succeed? No, not really. He's had 120 minutes in La Liga this season, in the whole season. And he's had 3 10-minute appearances in the Champions League. So for me, I think it's a huge risk for anyone to take this player. If he did have the talent that he was purported to have, then he would have got more than 120 minutes, for Barcelona. And there will be a lot of clubs in for him. So I'd jog this one and move this one on. And I can't see any of the top 6 clubs going for him.
Yeah.
I would say he's probably a lower mid-table team. Mind you, our team is lower mid-table. We're 15th. Maybe we are interested. But no, I don't think, if he's not of interest to Brighton anymore, I think he's someone who's probably going to end up in a lower Spanish league team.
Yeah, look, for me, he's not a player that I want to see don the famous lily white shirt. I just don't see the value. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think he's injury prone as well. And if he comes to Tottenham, that's not going to be something that bodes well for him or for us. I didn't see the value at Brighton particularly. He didn't embarrass himself. He wasn't awful, but he certainly wasn't the player that came with that kind of that pomp and ceremony that you would have thought with all the kind of the speculation about his future when he was, as you say, a teenager. There are other teams, though, mate, that are also in the hunt for all sorts of midfield, all sorts of attacking players. And a lot of the stories we're going to be talking about as this video goes on here surrounds one club particularly, which is Manchester United. Yeah. Obviously, the on-again, off-again saga with the Marcus Rashford deal, problems there. The guy's on such high wages. He's not wanted by Manchester United. He himself hasn't closed the door on playing for United again, but the interest from the club seems to be to try and push him on. They'll take on the lion's share of his wages just to get him out the door to make room for players that they are interested in. So I'm gonna ask you here 2 names. So Marcus Rashford, what do you think the future is for him? But including your answer, mate, Osimhen, the Napoli the superstar, £70 million bid apparently being readied, has been already verbally offered by Manchester United for the man. Superstar when he wants to be, obviously comes with a little bit of baggage, comes with a little bit of that kind of, I don't know what you call it, prima donna-esque behaviour. Also some issues in the past with the way he was treated personally in Napoli and has gone out to Galatasaray on loan, but there's obviously looking for some sort of permanent solution there. Is Manchester United the team for him? Can they afford? I'm not sure if they can anymore. The question marks around Manchester United being able to afford players never used to be even a thing to talk about. But I think these days, maybe it is. So what do you see about this Osimhen story and the Marcus Rashford story, mate? How do you see it?
For me, Amarin needs the right type of characters, right? You know, players who are tuned in. They don't need an Osimhen, who's had issues at Napoli. Rashford has had his issues. They've got lots of other players who've, had conflict with the club. They need winners, and they needed mental monsters at that club right now. And I'm not sure whether Victor Osimhen is that player for them. Listen, there's no doubt about his talent. If we're talking talent, 100%. But, they're trying to get rid of Marcus Rashford. They're also trying to get rid of Anthony, who's another one that's on the list, who they're trying to loan out to Real Betis at the moment on a loan. £80 million. £80 million. They've got some serious players to offload. And then they've got Garnacho, who, there's talk about his attitude and will they offload him. There's lots of interest in him. But I think the amount of money that United would want for him may make it prohibitive in this January transfer window. So I think realistically, the only one that will move on, I feel, will be Anthony, potentially on loan to Spain. I'm not sure what you think, Sean, on these.
Yeah, like I say, this is a club that's in a lot of transition right now. A lot of players that they want out, a lot of players that they want in. As you said, Amarin does need a certain type of player for his system. Thus far this season, I think he started off poorly, but he's grown sort of stronger as time has gone on. I'm sure United fans were a little bit concerned really about the way it started, but he obviously tries to fit his system or fits the players around his system as best he can. He's not willing to shake away from that sort of back 3 model, and he hasn't really got the players for it, neither at the back or at the front. At the top end, like you say, Rashford's obviously surplus to requirements, but finding a home for him where they're going to make a dent into that salary and try and recoup some of the money that they probably spent in the salary via a transfer fee is going to be difficult because of the market, because of the lack of interest, and because of his lack of willingness, I think, to go to Saudi. Obviously, Napoli are looking to find a replacement for Kvich, and they look like they have sort of zoomed in on Garnacho. But that's the one player that you've heard rumours that Manchester United don't really want to sell, and yet it's the only player that's really going to be able to make the difference in the numbers. But obviously, like you say, there's issues there with the player's temperament, maybe with his willingness to work hard for a certain system. But if Napoli are going to replace Kvich with him, that obviously frees up some space both on the financial side for transfer fees and for their salary. And so, maybe there is going to be room for Osimhen, but I think you're going out of the frying pan into the fire if you're trying to move players on because of some sort of issues with their willingness to play and their overall happiness as people, and you're bringing in an Osimhen, then it's another massive risk. And as far as Anthony goes, £80 million for a player like him, I remember everybody around in my circle at the time saying this guy is not worth £80 million. It's another one of those examples of players that leave the Dutch league with such high expectations, high performance ratios, and then they go to the next level, and it doesn't seem to work out. So, what was it Betis that he's linked with? Is it Anthony?
I think it's real Betis. Real Betis he's linked with. Obviously a club like that can't afford his wages, so he'll go on loan, and United will pay a proportion of their wages. The amount of money they spent, gave Ten Hag to spend on these Dutch players, and very few of them, have worked out. But listen, Amorim, he needs to be given some money. Obviously, in this window, he desperately needs help, like quite a few clubs, like Spurs, like them. So I think they need to give him money. So maybe they'll be pushed to offset and get someone out. Let's see what happens. But I'm sure over the next few days and in the next few videos, we'll be revisiting it.
100%
on there. How about the news? The other player that we've spoken about many times before from Feyenoord, David Hancko.
Yeah, look, a fantastic player. I've been a fan of this guy for a long time. I was talking about him with you, Johnny, on the Spurs Talk Show about maybe a month, 6 weeks ago, saying that if Tottenham need a player that's versatile, that can play left back and left-sided centre back, he's fast, can play that high line at Feyenoord. Obviously, you always have the same thing with any kind of Dutch player. You just don't know if they're going to acclimate and make the step up. I never had any doubts with this particular guy. And I talked about him with you about the idea of bringing him into Tottenham because he would solve such a massive headache. This was before any links ever emerged. We were just sort of speculating around players we'd like to see. And you and I both agreed that he'd make a really good fit, and a player that at Feyenoord probably, Feyenoord have got some great talent, but possibly are never going to really do much in Europe. So are they a place where where good players can be found, but ultimately are going to move on to higher challenges pretty soon? And we think that same about David Hancko. And all of a sudden, in the last couple of weeks, the rumours now are picking up that Tottenham are in fact interested in him, according to reports yesterday. But as to our Juventus, it seems like right now, mate, every single player that Tottenham seems to be interested in, so too are Juve. I'm not sure if
that's there a link there, Sean? Is there a link there? Fabio Paratici, Juventus, Tottenham.
Is he working for both teams?
Cool. I'm beginning to wonder. We got Luani, who's been linked. That deal, with a loan, with an option.
Jonathan David as well, another one.
Jonathan David, and this deal with Hancko. I'm not sure whether they're going to find 30 million euros. Listen, so which will leads us on to another player that's actually, this isn't all about Spurs, but they're just leading on to this one. Another player that they are looking to potentially get rid of to free up the money to buy Hancko or to get Moani in is Douglas Luiz.
Right.
26, right back, right-footed defensive midfielder. Had outstanding at Villa.
Yeah.
And I was surprised when you look at yet another player that Man City let go to Villa, sold for £50 million. Hasn't really, settled there. I find it difficult to believe that he's going to be allowed to get out. But he's only played 9 games, I think, so far this season.
Yeah, for whatever reason, whether it's horses for courses, the manager doesn't fancy him as much. Maybe he hasn't settled in the area. But as far as we're aware, he wants to stay. I think he's come out and said he wants to stay and fight for his place. But like Juve are a team that always want to bring in the next. Their fans are hungry for the next superstar to come in. And so there's quite a conveyor belt of talent there that coming in, a revolving door sort of thing. And so, look, it's interesting. You mentioned Manchester City that they're interested in bringing him back as the long-term possible replacement for their number 6, Rodri. So it's it will be interesting. I think one thing that should never go understated is that most teams in the Premier League need someone who is, a capable 8, but that ultimately has the defensive sort of instructions and the defensive capabilities to handle the 6 if you're playing for a team that likes to present themselves as more offensive and front-footed. Now, that fits maybe half a dozen teams in the Premier League, and most of those players would be looking, or most of those teams rather, would be looking for someone in that guise. Now, obviously, Arsenal were looking for a long-term replacement for Thomas Partey should he leave. We're not sure around whether Zubamendi's going to go in there to play alongside Moreno, but and what does that leave? What does that leave for Declan Rice to fight for his spot, or does he move more forward as an 8? Douglas Luiz can play in both positions, and there's a lot of teams that would want him. And he has the Premier League experience. There's no question marks about whether or not this guy can fit into the very hustle and bustle and specific nuanced nature of the Premier League. I would love to see him at Tottenham, but I'm sure a lot of fans or a lot of teams would want him to play for their team as well. Really good player. And if you can get him for £40 million or so, then I think that's a bargain at the current rates, what you're paying for mediocre talent in the footballing world.
One I've just got to add on is West Ham have bid 52 million for Duran of Aston Villa, which has been turned down.
He signed a new contract today, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. But obviously West Ham, clubs are searching desperately for that top striker right now.
He's a fantastic player, John Duran. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Such a very, very clever player, big, strong fella, and can smash the ball off both feet. And it's good for Aston Villa for signing him. I think today it was announced, I believe, he signed an extension until 2030. So
West Ham did make a sizable offer, as I said, over £50 million offer, which probably prompted Villa to get in there and tie this deal up.
Yeah.
Who else have we got?
Trent, mate. The on-again, off-again story that never seems to go away, right? So, again, we can link this back to Tottenham. Not that we're trying to. This is a non-Tottenham channel, but, obviously Tottenham does come up a few times in broadly speaking, non-specific.
We're looking for about 12 players, so that's probably why we're being linked with everybody.
But Trent, look, do you see Trent going to Real Madrid at the end of the year? It looks like that's the way that Trent was. Real Madrid were going to allow this one to run its course until the summer, get him for free. They could still tie it up and get the deal done now for a summer transfer. But the pressure is on Real Madrid after losing in one of their cup finals last week to Barcelona. There's been a little bit of a dip in form in the league as well. And so some of the higher ups at Real Madrid are apparently looking to move things forward and to bring in something before the end of the window. And so would try to find a price point that, reflects the fact that they're confident that they can get him for free anyway, but that also makes the deal juicy enough for Liverpool to consider doing it now. Look, that obviously would put to bed any idea of our man Pedro Porro potentially moving back to Real Madrid. But do you think, Johnny, if there is truth to it, and if it was to happen in the next couple of days, would it create any short-term kind of domino effect in the right-back space around the Premier League, with Liverpool looking for cover, or would they? Do you think Liverpool are okay with what they have in terms of backup and options to get them through until the end of the season?
Well, I think his close relationship with Jude Bellingham could be the deciding factor here. He's probably pitched to him, come here, the lifestyle's fantastic, sign on a free transfer, massive signing on fee, massive parade, to when you're, 100,000 people to come and watch your signing.
Yeah. Do some keepy uppies.
Godlike status, join the Galacticos or stay on Merseyside. No disrespect to Merseyside, Liverpool are absolutely flying at the moment and they're a joy to watch. And he's very much part of that. He's a Liverpool legend and it's a tough decision for him. But I think the lure of Real Madrid, even from Liverpool, may be too much. And the lure of, that fantastic payday that awaits him. They got Conor Bradley, who can slip into the position there.
That's right, exactly.
He's very, very capable defender and one that's only going to get better. So I don't think Liverpool... listen, he's a top player, but I think Liverpool won't be losing sleep over losing him. They will obviously be upset, and it's their own fault that they're in a situation where, they've got Trent, Salah and Dick Van Dijk as, potentially going on free. I can see him being the only one that goes, but I do think he will leave the club.
Yeah, well, on tomorrow's episode, we'll probably be diving into a few of the other stories that are percolating around some of those players, because there is rumours that Virgil van Dijk might be looking to leave as well. And in fact, there's new stories emerging regarding their legend Mo Salah, but we'll save that for tomorrow, mate. We've got one more name for you, my man. A name that I hadn't heard of before. Forgive me, but a player that you have been. I've heard of him only through you, never because of being in the zeitgeist. But Mason Melia, I think I'm saying his name right. The Irish kid, apparently doing things over in Partick Thistle. Can you shed some light on this story for us?
Yes, in Partick Athletic. Listen, we bid £1 million, but unfortunately, it wasn't accepted. Right foot, Wonderkid. Look, we've heard that word before, Wonderkid. He's a striker. He broke the record in Ireland. He scored, I think it was 15 years old, 15 years and 250 odd days. Celtic are also interested, but we can't sign him apparently till January 2026 because of the Brexit laws. But there are rumours that he has a EU passport. We've since gone back. Surprise. Yeah. We've come back now. Here's one we had found. Here's one we had found. He's an exciting.
Rumours he has a passport, and there's some ridiculous. Have you got a passport or haven't you, Mason? Come on, what are we doing?
But if he has got this passport, it would mean that we could bring him in earlier.
Is he really like? Is he supposed to be? I don't know, like an Evan Ferguson.
He's meant to be really exciting. He's meant to be the most exciting talent to come out of Ireland in recent years. We had one who was hyped to the max and ended out
Troy Parrott
and ended up on loan, and we got rid of him, and now he's smashing it. So you never know, but he's only 17 years of age, so nothing to get excited about at the moment. And there is just one more. Again, this isn't just to reiterate, this isn't a Spurs show, but Spurs have been linked with so many players. And it's Colombia's Richard Rios, 24, right-footed centre midfielder.
Exciting player with the ball at his feet from distance. When I again didn't know much about him when I did my due diligence. So this guy has got one hell of a cracker shot on him, hasn't he? From distance, he loves to ping it. He's got that ability to hit the ball like a Ronaldo free kick where he'd hit the valve and it would stay dead straight and then like weave through the air. He seems to be able to do that from open play. Some of his long shots from 30 yards are just unbelievable. This kid. And apparently very highly rated, but he's not going to leave Palmeiras. Is it Palmeiras? No, it's not Palmeiras. Where is he at?
Well, the thing is, look, he's at Palmeiras, right?
Palmeiras,
championships at the moment. But look, the thing is about him is he's what Spurs desperately need in the middle of the park. If you saw the Everton game, we don't have a six, we don't have a destroyer in the middle of the park, and he is that. I mean, he signed for $1.8 million. He signed a new contract, I think, till 2029 or I think it is 2028. Can't remember.
He'll go for big money, wouldn't he? Like 25, 30 million. Yeah.
I mean, he's got an $83 million
release
buyout clause, which is not going to. Listen, no one's going to be paying that. He's only 24 years of age, but listen, Transfer Market has him on for 12 million. As value. So I wouldn't pay any attention to the 83 million. I think Spurs were looking to put in a bid of around about 30 million euros. But again, these deals are really hard to do. They're bang in the middle of their season. And a lot of the cup competitions going on. So let's wait and see. I think what we'll find is with all the clubs, whether it be Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Man City are the only club that are not messing around. They've targeted, they are the dream that most clubs would like to be operating on at the moment, where they've already targeted who they're going to target, who they want. And they've gone straight in there. They've got Kusanov, they've got Reis from Palmeiras. They're
getting Cambiasso, they've got Marmoush coming in.
Marmoush, and they're now looking at yet another player. So let's hope the rest of the clubs are following in their footsteps and getting some deals done.
Well, let's hope the rest of the clubs are not following in their footsteps with the way that they conduct their shenanigans. I'm only joking, Manchester City fans. I saw you on the comments on the last video. How could you say they got away with it? That's accusing them of doing something they haven't clearly done. La, la, la. It's only fun. It's only banter. We're still waiting for the final verdict on their 115 charges. We will bring that to you as and when we see it, as we will all other information. I think that's it for us today, Johnny. We'll leave it there, guys. That's your transfer news, views and clues update from around the Premier League. We'll see you tomorrow for more of the same.
That like and subscribe button, Shawnee.
Hit the like and subscribe. You heard it there from Jonny. And we'll see you in the next one. As always, bye-bye. We've still got to figure out that end. Is it finished? There we go.
No.
Finish it. No, sorry.